All right, so you're curious about what Satya Nadella, you know, the CEO of Microsoft, thinks about the future. Well, you've come to the right place.
That's right.
We've gone through his interview with Dwarkesh Patel, and we're bringing you the essence, the really good stuff,
The good stuff.
on two pretty mind-blowing topics.
Mm-hmm.
Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI,
Yeah.
and quantum computing. And these aren't just, buzzwords.
Right.
These are technologies that could completely reshape our world.
Yeah.
To start, Nadella makes this really bold prediction about AI.
Okay.
He says it has the potential to fuel a whole new industrial revolution.
A whole new industrial revolution. Wow.
A new industrial revolution. What does that even mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, he's talking about a potential 10% global GDP growth.
10%.
10%, something we've just, never seen before.
Yeah.
He believes AI is that powerful.
Yeah.
But he's not just some, wide-eyed techie, just like AI is going to solve all our problems.
Yeah.
He also emphasizes, the importance of actually translating AI's capabilities into real tangible value.
Right.
It's like he's saying, okay, AI is amazing, but how do we actually use it to make things better?
Right. How do we actually implement it and make it real?
Exactly. And he uses this really interesting analogy to explain how AI will change the way we work. He compares it to the lean revolution in manufacturing.
Okay. Lean revolution.
The lean revolution.
What was that about?
So think about, a factory floor.
Okay.
Lean manufacturing was all about eliminating waste and boosting efficiency.
Okay.
Nadella says AI could do the same thing for knowledge work.
Okay, so instead of robots on an assembly line, it's AI streamlining our brains.
Exactly. He even shared how he uses AI agents in his own work to automate tasks and make better decisions.
Hold on. AI agents. Is this like having a little robot assistant?
It's more like having a super-powered software assistant. These AI agents can help you with things like, scheduling meetings, summarizing documents, even making strategic decisions.
Okay, so AI could be like our partner in work.
That's the idea. But now, let's switch gears and talk about quantum computing.
Quantum computing. Isn't that something they're still figuring out?
It was, but Microsoft just made a massive breakthrough.
Oh.
They essentially created the quantum computing equivalent of the transistor.
The transistor, wasn't that like a big deal?
It's huge. The transistor was the foundation of modern electronics.
Okay.
And now, with this breakthrough, Microsoft is on the verge of building incredibly powerful and reliable quantum computers.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this is a big deal, but what can these quantum computers actually do?
Well, for one, they're aiming to build a quantum computer with 1 million qubits
1 million.
that can fit on a chip the size of your thumbnail.
1 million qubits on something smaller than a postage stamp.
You've got it. And Nadella believes quantum computing will be key to solving some of humanity's biggest challenges, from tackling climate change to curing diseases.
Okay, this is blowing my mind a little bit. So we've got AI changing how we work and quantum computers curing diseases.
It sounds like science fiction, but it's becoming reality right before our eyes.
Yeah.
And speaking of the future...
Hassan, hold on before you jump ahead. Can we unpack the 1 million qubits on a thumbnail thing? I need a little more on that.
You're right. We kind of glossed over that.
Yeah.
It's easy to get, caught up in the excitement, but let's break it down.
Please. I'm all ears.
Okay, so imagine a computer that's not limited to just the ones and zeros of our current computers.
Okay.
A computer that can be in multiple states at once.
Okay.
That's the power of quantum computing.
Right.
And the qubit is the basic unit of information in a quantum computer.
So more qubits means more power.
Exactly. And to have 1 million qubits on such a tiny chip,
Yeah.
that's a level of computational power we can barely even fathom right now.
Okay. Now I'm getting the picture. So where were we?
You're about to say something about the future.
Right. Nadella sees a future where AI, quantum computing, and mixed reality are all intertwined.
Okay.
He calls them the 3 cornerstones of technological progress for the next several decades.
Wait, mixed reality. That's like VR and AR, right?
Exactly. And Nadella believes these 3 technologies will work together to address fundamental human needs.
It's like a perfect storm of innovation.
It is, yeah. He even said, and I'm quoting him here, "The combination of AI, mixed reality, and quantum computing will allow us to unlock solutions to problems that we've never been able to solve before. It will allow us to create new experiences that we've never even imagined."
Wow, that's quite the statement. But what does this mean for us,
Uh-huh.
for everyday people?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Think about how we use the internet today.
Right.
I mean, it's become so essential.
Yeah.
It's how we communicate, how we work, how we learn, how we entertain ourselves.
Yeah.
Nadella believes that AI, quantum computing, and mixed reality will have a similar impact on society, that they'll become so deeply integrated into our lives that we won't even be able to imagine life without them.
Wow. So this is like the new internet coming.
It is, yeah, it is.
Okay.
But he also acknowledges that this future isn't guaranteed.
Oh. So it's not a sure thing.
Not exactly, no. He emphasizes that the real measure of success won't be just the technological milestones.
Okay.
It'll be the impact that these technologies have on the world.
Right. So it's not just about like, oh, we built it. It's, do we use it for good?
Exactly, yeah. He's asking, will they help us solve global challenges? Will they improve the quality of life? Will they create a more equitable society?
Right.
These are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves as these technologies continue to evolve.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where this whole concept of artificial general intelligence, AGI, comes in.
Right, AGI.
Okay, AGI. Now, this is where machines become as smart as humans, right?
Twice even more than that.
More than that.
Yeah, AGI is about creating machines that can think and learn and reason just like humans do. Machines that can solve problems that we can't even comprehend.
Okay, so this is like science fiction movie territory, right?
Right.
Like Skynet from Terminator.
Well, Nadella does acknowledge the potential risks of AGI.
Okay.
He even says the development of AGI is one of the most important and challenging endeavors of our time. It has the potential to unlock tremendous benefits for humanity, but it also carries significant risks that we need to carefully consider.
Okay, so it's not just about building the technology, it's about building it responsibly.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. Nadella emphasizes the importance of ethical considerations in the development of AGI.
Right.
He believes that we need to ensure that AGI is aligned with human values
Okay.
and that it's used for good, not for harm.
Yeah, I mean, he's not shying away from the big questions here.
Not at all, not at all. He's calling for a very thoughtful and collaborative approach to AGI development, one that involves experts from various fields, including, computer science, ethics, law, and social science.
So he's saying we need to have a very serious conversation about AGI as a society.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he believes that Microsoft has a responsibility to be a leader in this conversation.
Right.
He wants to ensure that AGI is developed in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Wow, this is heavy stuff. Like AI changing how we work, quantum computers curing diseases, AGI becoming our intellectual partner. This is almost overwhelming.
It is a lot to process.
Yeah.
But Nadella's message is ultimately one of optimism.
Okay.
He believes that technology has the power to solve some of the world's biggest challenges
Right.
and to create a better future for everyone.
I like that optimism in the face of such massive technological change.
Exactly. Yeah, he sees the potential for these technologies to improve our lives in countless ways,
Mm.
from healthcare to education, from transportation to entertainment.
So he's saying it's not all doom and gloom.
Definitely not. Definitely not. He believes that if we approach these technologies thoughtfully and responsibly, we can harness their power to create a more just, equitable, and sustainable world.
That's a future I can get behind.
Me too. And I think it's important to remember that this future is not predetermined. It's up to us to shape it.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, the choices that we make today
Okay.
will determine the world that we live in tomorrow.
So what kind of choices should we be making then?
Well, Nadella really emphasizes the importance of education.
Okay.
He believes that we need to equip future generations with the skills that they need to thrive in an AI-powered world.
So we need to be teaching kids how to code.
It's more than just coding.
More than that.
Yeah, it's about critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. Skills that will be essential in a world where machines are capable of doing many of the tasks that humans do today.
So it's about kind of adapting to this new world.
Exactly, and about using our uniquely human skills to complement the capabilities of machines. Nadella believes that the future belongs to those who can embrace both the power of technology and the power of human ingenuity.
That's a powerful message. But let's be realistic. I mean, there are going to be some bumps in the road, right?
Yeah.
Jobs will be displaced.
Sure.
There will be ethical challenges. I mean, what does Nadella have to say about that?
He doesn't shy away from those challenges.
Okay.
He acknowledges that there will be disruptions.
Yeah.
But he also believes that these disruptions will ultimately create new opportunities.
Okay.
He compares it to the shift from agriculture to manufacturing during the Industrial Revolution.
Right, where people were like afraid of losing their jobs,
Exactly.
but new jobs were created.
New jobs were created, new industries emerged,
Right.
and society as a whole benefited.
So he's saying we need to kind of embrace change and adapt.
Yes, and he believes that government and business have a role to play in this transition. He calls for investments in education and training programs to help workers adapt to the changing job market.
So it's not just about individuals adapting, it's about society as a whole kind of supporting this transition.
Exactly. Nadella believes that we need a collective effort to ensure that everyone benefits from these advancements in AI, quantum computing, and mixed reality.
It's a big task, but it sounds like he's optimistic that we can pull it off.
He is. He believes that humans have an incredible capacity for innovation and adaptation, and that if we work together, we can create a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
That's a nice thought, a future where technology serves humanity. But I mean, how do we ensure that happens? What steps can we take as individuals to, help shape this future?
Well, Nadella emphasizes the importance of being informed and engaged. He encourages people to, learn about these technologies, to think critically about their implications, and to participate in the conversation about how they should be developed and used.
So we need to educate ourselves and get involved.
Exactly. Exactly. He believes that everyone has a role to play in shaping the future of technology,
Right.
and that our collective voices can make a difference.
It's empowering, but it also feels like a lot of responsibility.
It is. But Nadella's message is ultimately one of hope and optimism. He believes that if we work together, we can create a future where technology empowers humanity and helps us to solve some of the world's most pressing challenges.
That's a future I can get behind.
Me too. And I think it's important to remember that this future is not some distant utopia. It's something that we can start building today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Every choice we make,
All right,
every action we take contributes to the world we want to live in.
So we need to be mindful of our choices and actions.
Absolutely. And we need to be bold, to embrace innovation, and to never stop believing in the power of human ingenuity to create a better future.
I like that. Boldness, innovation, and belief in human ingenuity.
Right.
Those are values I can get behind.
Me too. And I think they're essential for anyone who wants to be a part of shaping the future.
Well said. And speaking of shaping the future, Nadella had some really interesting things to say about the future of work in an AI-driven world.
Yes. He sees AI as a tool that can augment human capabilities, not replace them.
So he's not buying into the whole robots are taking our jobs narrative?
Not exactly. He believes that AI will change the nature of work, but it won't eliminate the need for human workers.
Okay, so how does he see work changing then?
Well, he uses the analogy of the lean revolution in manufacturing that we talked about earlier.
Right, where AI helps us to eliminate waste and boost efficiency.
Exactly. Nadella believes that AI will have a similar impact on knowledge work, automating routine tasks and freeing up humans to focus on higher-level thinking and problem-solving.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Yes, and about using AI to enhance our productivity and creativity.
So what kind of new jobs does he see emerging in this, AI-powered world?
Well, he talks about the growing demand for data scientists, AI engineers, and other professionals who can build and manage AI systems.
So there will be new opportunities for those with the right skills.
Absolutely, but he also emphasizes the importance of lifelong learning and adaptability.
So we need to be prepared to learn new skills throughout our careers.
Exactly. The job market of the future will be dynamic and constantly evolving.
Right.
So we need to be willing to adapt and learn new things.
That's it. That's a challenge, but it's also kind of exciting.
It is. The future of work is full of possibilities, and AI will play a key role in shaping those possibilities.
This all sounds great, but what about the ethical considerations?
Sure.
AI raises some pretty serious ethical questions, like bias, discrimination, and privacy.
Yeah.
How does Nadella address these concerns?
He acknowledges that these are important issues.
Okay.
And he believes that we need to address them head on.
So what's his solution?
He emphasizes the importance of transparency and accountability in the development and deployment of AI systems.
So we need to be able to understand how these AI systems work.
Yes.
And who's responsible for them.
Exactly. He also believes that we need to establish ethical guidelines for the use of AI,
Right.
and that these guidelines should be developed in a collaborative and inclusive way.
So it's not just up to tech companies to figure this out.
No, Nadella believes that everyone has a role to play in shaping the ethical landscape of AI.
Okay.
From policymakers to educators, from business leaders to individual citizens.
That's a big responsibility, but it's also an opportunity to create a future where AI is used for good.
I agree, and I think that Nadella's vision for the future is ultimately a hopeful one.
Okay.
He believes that we can harness the power of AI to create a more just, equitable, and sustainable world.
And speaking of a sustainable world, Nadella also had some interesting things to say about the role of technology in addressing climate change.
Yes, he sees technology as a key tool in the fight against climate change.
How so?
Well, he talks about the potential for AI to help us optimize energy consumption, reduce emissions, and develop new sustainable technologies.
So AI can help us to kind of make smarter decisions about how we use resources.
Exactly. He also highlights the role of cloud computing in reducing the carbon footprint of businesses and organizations.
By making it easier for them to adopt renewable energy sources and to track their emissions.
Right. He believes that Microsoft has a responsibility to lead the way in sustainable computing, and he's committed to using the company's resources and expertise to help address this global challenge.
It's encouraging to hear a tech leader taking climate change seriously.
It is, and I think it's important to remember that we all have a role to play in creating a more sustainable future.
What kind of role can individuals play?
Well, we can make conscious choices about the products and services that we use. We can reduce our own energy consumption, and we can support businesses and organizations that are committed to sustainability.
It all adds up.
It does. Every little bit helps.
And speaking of helping, Nadella also had some inspiring things to say about the role of technology in empowering people with disabilities.
Yes, he's very passionate about using technology to create a more inclusive world for everyone.
How is Microsoft doing that?
Well, they're developing accessible technologies that allow people with disabilities to participate more fully in society.
Like assistive technologies for people with visual or hearing impairments.
Exactly, and they're also working to create more inclusive workplaces and products.
It's great to see a company taking this issue seriously.
It is, and I think it's a reminder that technology has the power to break down barriers
Yeah.
and to create a more just and equitable world for everyone.
Well said. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's been in the news a lot lately.
Okay.
The metaverse.
Ah, yes, the metaverse.
Nadella has some interesting thoughts on that.
He
Sam.
does. He does.
What's his take on it?
Well, he sees the metaverse as a natural evolution of the internet.
An immersive 3D internet where we can interact with each other and with digital content in new ways.
Exactly.
Wow.
He believes that the metaverse has the potential to transform the way we work, learn, play, and socialize.
But there are also concerns about the metaverse, right?
Sure.
Like privacy, security, and the potential for addiction.
Yes. Nadella acknowledges these concerns, and he emphasizes the importance of developing the metaverse responsibly.
So what does he propose?
He believes that we need to establish clear ethical guidelines for the metaverse, and that we need to ensure that it's a safe and inclusive space for everyone.
So it's not just about building cool technology, it's about building it in a way that benefits society.
Exactly, and I think that's a theme that runs throughout Nadella's vision for the future.
Yeah.
He's not just interested in technological advancement for its own sake.
Right.
He wants to use technology to make a positive impact on the world.
That's a vision I can get behind.
Me too, and I think it's a vision that's worth striving for.
Well said. And speaking of striving, Nadella also shared some insights into his personal philosophy and what drives him as a leader.
Yes, he talked about the importance of empathy, curiosity, and a growth mindset.
Those are qualities that we could all benefit from cultivating.
Absolutely. He believes that these qualities are essential for success in today's rapidly changing world, and that they're also essential for creating a more just and equitable society.
I like that empathy, curiosity, and a growth mindset. Those are values I can get behind.
Me too. And I think they're a great reminder that technology is ultimately a tool, and that it's up to us to decide how we use it.
So we have the power to shape the future.
We do. The choices we make today will determine the world we live in tomorrow.
That's a powerful thought, and it's a reminder that we need to be thoughtful and intentional about how we use technology.
Absolutely. We need to think about the long-term consequences of our actions, and we need to ensure that technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
Well said. And speaking of serving humanity, Nadella also shared some inspiring thoughts on the role of business in society.
Yes, he believes that businesses have a responsibility to create value, not just for their shareholders, but for all of their stakeholders.
including their employees, their customers, and the communities they operate in.
Exactly. He sees business as a force for good in the world, and he believes that companies have a moral obligation to use their resources and expertise to address social and environmental challenges.
That's a refreshing perspective.
It is, and I think it's a sign of the changing times.
Yeah, more and more businesses are recognizing that they have a role to play in making the world a better place.
Yes, and I think that's a positive trend.
It is, and I think it's something that Nadella is helping to drive.
I agree. He's a leader who's not afraid to talk about the importance of purpose and values in business.
And he's backing up his words with actions.
He is. Microsoft is making significant investments in areas like sustainability, accessibility, and education.
It's good to see a company putting its money where its mouth is.
It is, and I think it sets a good example for other businesses to follow.
I agree. And speaking of examples, Nadella also shared some personal anecdotes about his own life and leadership journey.
Yes, he talked about the importance of humility, learning from mistakes, and surrounding yourself with talented people.
Those are valuable lessons for anyone.
They are, and I think they're a reminder that leadership is not about being perfect. It's about being human
Yeah,
and about striving to be the best version of yourself.
well said. And speaking of being the best version of yourself, Nadella also talked about the importance of finding your passion and purpose in life.
Yes, he believes that everyone has a unique contribution to make to the world, and that we should all strive to find work that is both challenging and fulfilling.
It's about more than just earning a paycheck,
It is. It's about finding something that gives you meaning and purpose.
and about using your talents and skills to make a positive impact on the world.
Exactly. Nadella's message is one of hope and inspiration. He believes in the power of human ingenuity to solve problems and to create a better future.
Well, this has been a truly fascinating and insightful conversation. We've covered a lot of ground, from AI to quantum computing, from the metaverse to the future of work, and from climate change to social justice.
It's been a wide-ranging discussion.
It has, but I think it all comes back to Nadella's core message,
Yeah.
which is that technology has the power to make the world a better place.
Yes, but it's up to us to ensure that it's used for good.
Right. We need to be thoughtful and intentional about how we develop and use technology, and we need to work together to create a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Well said. I think that's a great note to end on.
I agree. And speaking of ending, we're just about out of time for today.
But before we go, we want to invite you to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes.
Right. We're always exploring new ideas and sharing insights from the world's most fascinating thinkers and doers.
So if you're interested in staying ahead of the curve and learning about the forces that are shaping the future,
Be sure to subscribe.
thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, so we've talked about how AI could reshape the way we work and how AGI could be our intellectual partner. But remember those three cornerstones of the future:
Yeah.
AI,
Yeah.
quantum computing, and mixed reality. Well, we've touched on the first two, but what about that third cornerstone, mixed reality?
Mixed reality is all about blending the digital and physical world, creating experiences where the lines between the two become blurred.
So it's like augmented reality, where you see digital objects overlaid on the real world,
Oh.
but even more immersive.
Exactly. Think about wearing a headset that allows you to see and interact with holograms, or to experience virtual environments that feel completely real.
Wow, that sounds incredible. What are the potential applications of mixed reality?
Well, the possibilities are pretty much endless. Nadella talked about how mixed reality could be used in everything from education and training to healthcare and entertainment.
Yeah.
For example, imagine attending a virtual lecture where you can interact with the professor and other students as if you were all in the same room. Or imagine a surgeon using mixed reality to visualize a patient's anatomy in 3D before performing a complex operation.
That's amazing. It sounds like mixed reality could revolutionize so many industries.
It certainly has the potential, and Nadella is particularly excited about the potential of mixed reality to create new forms of human connection.
Okay.
He believes that mixed reality can help us to overcome the limitations of physical distance, allowing us to connect with people in more immersive and meaningful ways.
So even if you're on opposite sides of the world, you could feel like you're in the same room.
Exactly. He even talks about the possibility of using mixed reality to create virtual memorials, allowing people to connect with loved ones who have passed away.
Wow. That's a really, really powerful idea.
It is. And it's a testament to Nadella's belief that technology should be used to enhance human connection, not to replace it. So we've covered AI, quantum computing, and mixed reality. the three cornerstones of Nadella's vision for the future.
Yeah.
It's a vision of a world where technology empowers humanity, helps us to solve our biggest challenges, and creates new opportunities for everyone.
Right.
But it's also a vision that comes with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Nadella really emphasizes the importance of developing and using these technologies ethically and responsibly. He believes that we need to have open and honest conversations about the potential risks and benefits of these technologies, and that we need to work together to ensure that they're used for good.
It's a big task, but it's one that we can't afford to ignore.
I agree. The future is not something that just happens to us.
Right.
It's something that we create through our choices and actions.
Well, what kind of future do we want to create?
That's the question we all need to be asking ourselves. And I think that Nadella's vision provides a roadmap for a future that's both optimistic and inspiring, a future where technology is a force for good in the world. And I believe that we have the power to make that vision a reality.
Well said. I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been incredibly insightful.
Me too. It's always inspiring to hear from someone like Nadella who's thinking deeply about the future and how we can use technology to make it better. And if you've enjoyed this conversation as much as we have, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes.
Right. We're always exploring new ideas and sharing insights from the world's most fascinating thinkers and doers.
Thanks for listening. And until next time, keep those minds curious.